You know what question I keep hearing from business owners everywhere? How do we actually make AI work for us? And look, I get it. The possibilities are endless, but guessing is way too risky when it comes to your business operations. Here's the thing. Sitting on the sidelines isn't an option either, because one thing is almost certain. Your competitors aren't waiting around. They're already making their move. No more waiting. With NetSuite by Oracle, you can put AI to work today with confidence. NetSuite is the #1 AI cloud ERP, and it's trusted by over 43,000 businesses. What makes it powerful is that it's a unified suite. It brings your financials, inventory, commerce, HR, and CRM all together in a single source of truth. That connected data is the key. That's what makes your AI actually smart. Instead of guessing, it knows what's happening in your business. It intelligently automates your routine tasks, delivers actionable insights, and helps you cut costs while making fast AI-powered decisions with real confidence. And here's the part that really stands out. You've got total flexibility. With NetSuite AI Connector, you can use the AI of your choice and connect it to your actual business data. You can ask every question you've ever had. Who are my key customers? What's my cash on hand right now? What are my inventory trends looking like? Plus, you can automate all those tiresome manual processes that nobody wants to deal with. Let's see your competitors do that. This isn't yet another tool that you're trying to bolt onto your existing systems. This is an AI built into the system that actually runs your business from the ground up. Whether your company earns millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you stay ahead of the pack. If your revenues are at least in the seven figures, get our free business guide, Demystifying AI, at netsuite.com/SPI. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/SPI, netsuite.com/SPI. Is your business taking off? Well, now's the time to act fast and hire help, but it can't just be anyone. Find the person who gets your brand and has the skills that matter on Indeed. No more struggling to get your listing noticed on other sites. With Indeed Sponsored Jobs, your post stands out and attracts the right candidates fast, and it really works. Sponsored jobs are 90% more likely to result in a hire, so this is truly the best way to reach top talent. That's how I do it if I were looking for anybody from podcast editors to community experts. Background matters, and Indeed allows me to narrow my search to people with the right experience and know-how. Possible candidates with years of experience on shows just like this one. And here's the thing with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. I get people who actually fit my requirements. No more digging through resumes. Plus, you only pay for results on Indeed. No monthly subscriptions, just a boost when you need to hire fast. So spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. Now with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/SmartPassive. Just go to Indeed.com/SmartPassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/SmartPassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. You know what nobody talks about enough? Digital security. And I get it, it's not the most exciting topic, but here's the reality. AI has completely changed the cybersecurity game. Scams are smarter, malware is faster, and phishing emails, they look shockingly real now. The good news is you don't need to be a tech expert to stay protected. You just need security that can keep up. And that's exactly why I want to tell you about WebRoot. Here's something that blew my mind. If your computer feels sluggish, heats up randomly, or sounds like it's about to take off every time it runs a scan, your antivirus is probably the culprit. And many big-name brands have become bloated, complicated, and full of pop-ups and upsells that slow everything down. WebRoot is different. WebRoot Essentials scans 6 times faster and takes up 33% less space than the average competitor. And it actually ranks #1 in performance compared to Norton and McAfee. And these differences, they can make your computer feel newer, faster, and easier to use. And if you want all-in-one protection, WebRoot Total Protection covers antivirus, identity monitoring, privacy protection, and cloud backup, all in one simple subscription. Up to 10 devices designed for everyday life. Powerful protection that stays out of your way, that's WebRoot. Listeners of this show get an exclusive 60% off right now. Visit webroot.com/smart to learn more. Live a better digital life with WebRoot. What if I told you that a YouTuber just beat Hollywood at its own game without a single studio executive, without a massive budget, and without really asking anyone for permission? His name is Markiplier. You might have heard this in the news. Maybe you know him, maybe you don't, but what he did recently should change how all of us think about our businesses, especially if you are a personal brand and you're a creator. So he recently made a movie called Iron Lung. It's based off of a video game, actually. And at one point, it was the #1 movie in America, which is crazy. So far, it has grossed over $48 million. And here's the kicker. He did it completely independently. No studio, no gatekeepers, not through Hollywood, just him, his audience, and a vision. But here's what's really wild about this. This isn't a fluke. This is the future, and it's happening right now all around us. Creators from everywhere are building empires. They are taking control. They're proving that when you have an audience that truly cares about you, what I call superfans, you don't need permission from anyone to build something incredible. You don't have to go through all the red tape and all the politics and any of that kind of stuff. You just need some vision and, of course, like I said, the superfans, the audience. So today, I want to show you exactly how this works, why it matters, and how you can start building your own creator empire, even if you're just getting started. You don't need millions of followers to do this. You just need the right followers. So let's dive in. So let me tell you about the iron lung story, because it's absolutely fascinating. Markiplier, his real name is Mark Fishbach. He's been on YouTube for over a decade. I've been following him for a while. He's blown up. He's a live streamer and creates amazing videos, very personable. He's built an audience of 38 million subscribers by playing games and being genuinely entertaining. And one of those games that he played was called Iron Lung. It's an indie horror game. And it's kind of a crazy premise, right? You're trapped in a submarine in an ocean of blood. But Mark fell in love with the story. The story goes even deeper than that, obviously. I mean, they're on a different planet looking for something to save, resources to save Earth. And on one of these planets, a resource was found, but unfortunately it was in a sea of blood in the ocean on this planet. And then horror, all this stuff happens. Anyway, Mark fell in love with that story and the atmosphere and the world that the game creator had built. So he did something most people would think is crazy. He bought the rights to adapt it into a film. But this is where it gets interesting, right? Mark didn't go to Hollywood. He didn't pitch it to studios like most people would, or everybody does. He just started making the movie. He spent about $3 million of his own money. He filmed it in 35 days. I remember a behind-the-scenes video of him building the sort of submarine where most of the movie would be taking place. He wrote it. He starred in it. He directed it, produced it. And when it came time to distribute it, he didn't wait for some executive to decide if this movie was worthy. He went directly to his audience. He then told them about the movie. He asked them to request it at their local theaters. And you know what happened? His community, his superfans, mobilized. They flooded theaters with requests. They created a grassroots campaign. They made it impossible for theater chains to ignore. And so his goal was to have 40 or 50 theaters, I think. I remember him saying. It was in over 3,000 theaters worldwide. And in the opening weekend, it made $18 million. And like I said before, total gross so far is $48 million, and it's climbing. But here's what's really important. This wasn't just about the money. This was about proving that creators don't need the traditional systems anymore. When you have an audience that trusts you, that believes in you, that wants to see you succeed, you have something more powerful than any studio budget. You have superfans. I have a smaller mini version of this story, which actually happened back in 2015. So in 2015, I published my second book. My first one was called Let Go, and that was published in 2013. But this, I felt, was my first kind of real business book, Will It Fly? How to Test Your Next Business Idea so you don't waste your time and money, which is still, people are still buying it today, now 11 years later, which, thank you, and it's amazing. I definitely wrote that with being timeless in mind. But I didn't want to wait for it to get in the bookstores because it was self-published. I knew I didn't have the distribution at this point. I didn't traditionally publish it like I did with Lean Learning. But I just had an idea after it launched. It became a Wall Street Journal bestseller. I was like, oh my gosh, this book has legs. If only bookstores knew about this. If only people would go to their bookstores and ask for it, then maybe it would get there. So guess what I did? I mobilized my superfans. I sent emails out. I said, hey, everybody, on this day, I think it was a day in March of 2016. I'm not exactly sure. I have to go back and look at a lot of the pictures because I said, go to your local Barnes & Noble, request Will It Fly by Pat Flynn. It will not be there. But the idea being if enough people ask for it, it might show up in a few. And I said, take a picture of you at the bookstore and I will choose a random group of people to win some Amazon cards, right? I had to add a little bit of a thank you in there for some people. And I guess hundreds of people did it, maybe thousands. I don't know. A lot of people didn't message me who maybe did it. Well, fast forward a few weeks later, one of those followers who caught wind of that challenge went into a Barnes & Noble, and guess what? Will It Fly was there. And so I made some calls around San Diego, and I found one bookstore in San Diego that held it. It was down in Grossmont. And I went there with my family and I filmed it. And this was a lifelong goal of mine. In fact, in 2012, I had written a blog post saying that one day I would love to bring my kids to a Barnes & Noble. In 2012, my daughter was born, my second child. And I said, one day I'd love to bring the kids to Barnes & Noble and be there and show them that Daddy's book is on the shelves. And I still have that video today. And it's one of my favorite memories. And it didn't happen by chance. It happened because A, I wrote a good book, but B, I mobilized the Superfans. So, of course, that didn't become a New York Times bestseller. That didn't become a movie or anything like that. But it was very special to me, and it only happened because of many of you. Now, Markiplier isn't the only one doing this on a grander scale. This is a part of a kind of bigger revolution that's happening right now. I mean, let me name off a few others. Look at Mr. Beast, right? He's not just a YouTuber anymore. He's building a media mega empire. He's got restaurants, chocolate bars, game shows on Amazon, theme parks. He's proving that a creator can compete with and often beat traditional companies. It's amazing. Ryan Trahan has, I think, the number 2 candy company in the world now, and he's trying to beat Nerds or something like that. I can't remember the candy company he's trying to beat, but he talks about it in his videos. They're at Target. Joyride, I think, is the name of his candy company, and it's awesome. Emma Chamberlain. She didn't just become a YouTuber. She's a fashion icon now, launching a coffee company. She sits front row at Paris Fashion Week. Logan Paul, KSI with Prime, the energy drink. It's crazy, but it's possible. And here's what's happening again in my world. I started Deep Pocket Monster, my Pokemon YouTube channel, in 2021. It now has over 2 million subscribers. There's a secondary Shorts channel that has over 2.5 million subscribers. The Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the YouTube Shorts channel, all together total over 8.8 million subscribers. It's allowed me to, generate more revenue, yes, but I've created an event called Card Party, a live event that brings thousands of people together every year. In fact, at the time of this recording, we are about a month away from our San Diego 2026 event. We should have about 9,000 to 10,000 people there. And that is going to be I think that's our 6th event, right? 2023 was when we launched. 24, 25, 26. Oh, no. 1 in 23, 1 in 24, 2 in 25. So this will be our 5th, and then we're doing 6 this summer in Fort Lauderdale and 7 in Dallas. This is the 4th generation of Card Party, but the 7th one, because each year is themed. Anyway, sorry. All that to say, thousands of people come out, and we spend $0 on marketing. $0 on marketing. I just started creating content I was passionate about. I built an audience around that passion and then created experiences for the audience. This is the creator revolution. We're not just making content anymore. We are building businesses, creating products, hosting events, and yes, making movies, which I would love to do one day.
So let me ask you something. What would you do with your time if you didn't have to do everything yourself? Because here's the reality. Scaling a business isn't about working harder or longer hours. It's about bringing in the right expertise at the right time. And the moment you realize you don't have to do it all yourself, that's when everything changes. I can definitely vouch for that. This is where Upwork comes in. Upwork is a one-stop platform to find, hire, and pay expert freelancers across web and software development, data analytics, marketing, business operations, and more. You get fast access to specialized talent across 125 plus categories, so you can fill skill gaps, launch projects faster, and scale support up or down without committing to full-time headcount. You can browse profiles, review past work, and get help scoping the role so you can hire with confidence and get started quickly. And with Upwork Business Plus, you get access to the top 1% of talent on Upwork with AI-powered shortlisting that matches you to the right freelancer in under 6 hours. No endless searching required. Upwork also handles contracts and payments all in one place, cutting down the operational hassle so you can spend more time focused on growing your business. Thousands of growing businesses already trust Upwork for everything from one-off projects to ongoing support, and it's completely free to sign up. Posting a job is easy. Just visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com. So here's the question worth asking yourself. How much time did your team lose this week waiting on a developer to make a simple website update? Because here's the truth. Your website should be one of those hardest working business tools, not a source of bottlenecks, back and forth emails,
and frustrating delays. And that's where Framer comes in, and it's genuinely changed the way businesses manage their .com. Framer is a no-code website builder that gives your designers and marketers the power to fully own your website without relying on engineering. We're talking changes that go live in seconds with one click. Design it, publish it, done. No tickets, no waiting, no complicated workflows. And it's not just fast, it's powerful. Real-time collaboration, a flexible CMS built for SEO, advanced analytics with A/B testing, and enterprise-grade security with 99.99% uptime. Companies like Perplexity and Miro trust Framer to run their .com because it lets their teams move at the speed of their ideas. Whether you're launching a brand new site, testing landing pages, or migrating your entire .com, Framer has programs for startups and enterprises to make going from idea to live site as easy and fast as possible. Learn how you can get more out of your .com from a Framer specialist, or get started building for free today at framer.com/SPI for 30% off a Framer Pro annual plan. That's framer.com/SPI for 30% off. Framer.com/SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply.
So why is this happening now is a good question. Why are creators suddenly able to compete with massive corporations? 3 reasons. Reason number 1, direct access to audiences. For the first time in history, creators, you and me, we can build direct relationships with our audiences without intermediaries, right? No TV network, no radio stations, no publishers, just you and the people who care about what you do. Number 2, the barriers to entry are much, much lower, right? The tools to create professional quality content. And professional, remember, doesn't mean necessarily like the best camera equipment. I think professional quality can mean just the storytelling. I mean, look at Ryan Trahan's videos. The tools to create websites, process payments, to distribute products, access to 3PLs, third-party logistics companies to sell the merchandise, all this kind of stuff, right? They're all accessible and affordable now. What used to require a massive corporation or large quantities can now be done by one person with a laptop, right? And third, trust and authenticity matter now more than ever. People are tired of corporate messaging. We're tired of AI. We want real people. People want to support real people, real stories, real passion. And when you build genuine relationships with your audience, they don't just consume your content, they become advocates for your brand. They want to fly that flag so high that they wear the t-shirts, they talk about it. People tell them to shut up about it because you've become a part of their lives so much. And here's the thing that traditional companies are starting to understand, right? Creator loyalty is different. It is deeper. It's more personal. It's not just like a billboard on the side of a road and then people drive by. It's a message in a person's ear that transmits to their brain and behavior. And when someone loves a TV show, right, they might watch it, they might talk about it. But when someone loves a creator, they'll buy their products, attend their events, and yes, request their movies at local theaters. That's the power of Superfans. And this brings me to something I've been talking about for years since I wrote the book on it, the concept of Superfans. In the book, I define a superfan as someone who, they don't just consume your content, but they actively promote it to other people. They're not just customers, they're advocates. And here's what Markiplier understood that most creators miss. You don't need millions of superfans. You need the right superfans, right? Yes, I know he has 38 million subscribers, but most of those are not superfans. Like, how many of them actually went to see Iron Lung? Probably a tiny fraction, right? Maybe 1% to 2%. But that tiny fraction was enough to make the movie a massive success. Not because the budget of the film was $300 million and he spent all that money on marketing and special effects and all this stuff, right? It was a tiny fraction that made it happen of his superfans, of his audience. Because they didn't just buy the tickets. They convinced their friends to buy tickets. They shared it on social media. They made it an event. This is how I caught wind of it. And this is the power of superfans. They multiply your impact. And I see this already with Deep Pocket Monster all the time. I don't need every Pokemon fan in the world to watch my videos. I just need the ones who really connect with the way that I do it, the approach that I have, my personality, my way of looking at the hobby. And those people don't just watch, they share. They comment, they show up to Card Party, they buy the merchandise. They check out Vault X, which is the binder company that I recommend, and then I get paid a commission for that. They become a part of the community. We share the same language, right? And when you have that kind of relationship with your audience, you can do things that seem impossible. You can launch a product without a marketing budget. You could sell an event without traditional advertising. You can get a movie into 3,000 theaters without a studio. That will be me one day. Because your audience becomes your marketing team. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking now. You might be like, Pat, this sounds great, but I don't have 38 million subscribers. I don't have millions of dollars to make a movie. And you're right. Most of us don't. But here's what you're missing. You don't need millions of anything to start your business empire. So let me give you some perspective. When I started Smart Passive Income back in 2008, I had 0 followers. When I launched my first product, the lead exam AP exam walkthrough, which is a ebook study guide to help people pass the lead exam. I mean, I didn't even have an email list yet. I just had a few hundred people visiting my website every day. And that was enough to generate 6 figures in revenue. Only in 2010 did I finally get smart and start an email list. When I started Deep Pocket Monster in 2021, I had 0 credibility in the Pokemon space. None. I had no collection. I hardly knew any other Pokemon other than Pikachu and Charizard and maybe Snorlax. But I was passionate. I wanted to learn. I was consistent. I was sharing my journey as I went. And I focused on serving the audience that I was building by telling good stories. The first card party event, that was in 2023. I mean, we had 1,800, 2,000 people. But those people had such an amazing experience that they told their friends that the next time around we sold out the hotel and the tickets for the event. And we almost tripled our capacity, right? You don't start with an empire. You start with a foundation. And that foundation is one that's built one superfan at a time. In a world of entrepreneurs and creators who are trying to scale and trying to automate fans and traffic, like at some point you have to realize that not everything needs to be scalable. Not everything has to be automated. And when you're creating for superfans, those are individual experiences that those people are having. And yes, they can be individual experiences people are having with the ins and outs of your brand. But when you take a little bit more effort and energy to make them feel a sense of belonging, to make them feel special, this is where you can fast forward the superfan effect, right? So start with 100 true fans, not 100,000, just 100 people who genuinely care about what you're doing. That's the first goal. Get 100 true fans. Serve them incredibly well. Give them value. Build relationships. Make them feel seen and heard. Ask them what they want. Get them involved, right? Don't guess what products to create or what services to offer. Ask your superfans what would help them the most. And then start small. Create something small. It doesn't have to be a movie or a theme park. It could be a digital product, a small event, a simple service. And then let your superfans spread the word. When you create something great for people who already love you, they're going to tell others, especially if you go above and beyond to enhance that experience for them. That is how empires are built. Not overnight, but one layer at a time. So let's go through a practical blueprint to do this. This is how you actually start building your creator empire. So let me give you a practical blueprint. Step 1, choose your niche, right? You need to be known for something specific. I'm known for entrepreneurship and education and separately for family-friendly Pokemon content. But what's your thing? What is your thing? If you need help finding your thing, if you're literally at the beginning of your journey, then I would recommend picking up Will It Fly or coming into the SPI community. You might already be a part of the SPI community. Check out the Smart from Scratch course. That literally is what it teaches you to do, to find your lane, to figure out what you could be good at to help others with. So that's step 1. Step 2, build consistently. This isn't about going viral. In fact, I see a lot of people who have been working so hard, trying to be consistent, and they get one viral video, but it's usually for something completely random and it's not attracting the right audience, right? Stay consistent, show up, and eventually the algorithms will help you find the right people. It's about showing up consistently for the people who care about your niche. Quality and consistency beat viral moments every time. Yes, you could have a viral moment with quality and consistency that does match up with your audience, but just going viral to go viral is pointless. In fact, it can hurt you. Step 3, engage deeply. Step 1 was choose your niche. Step 2, build consistently. Step 3, engage deeply. Don't just broadcast. Broad ask. Have conversations. Ask questions. Respond to comments. Build relationships, not just an audience. It's not a one-way conversation. It's not even a two-way conversation. It's multi-conversation. People who are fans finding each other as well. That's where community comes into play. Step 4, identify your superfans. Who are the people who are always engaging with you, who seem to always share your content, who asks thoughtful questions? These are your superfans. Pay attention to them. If you already sell a product or multiple products, they are people who've bought all of them or maybe who were the first to purchase. You can and should identify them. You should know them. Who are they? What are their likes? Where do they come from? How do they find you? What are they doing to talk about you? How can you support them in doing that? And how can you thank them for what they're doing for you? Step 5, create your first product if you haven't already. It doesn't have to be big. It could be a $10 digital guide. We've had people like Liz Wilcox, our community director here, who has a $9 membership. And she's got, 5,000 people in that membership. That's huge. That's recurring income. Maybe it's a $50 course, a $100 consultation. The goal is to prove that your audience will invest in what you create. Step number 6, listen and iterate. Your superfans are going to tell you what they want next. They're also going to tell you when you step down the wrong path. All right? Build what they're asking for. Get them involved. When people are involved, they're invested. And step number 7, think bigger. Once you've proven that you created value for your audience, start thinking bigger about those opportunities. Maybe it's an event. Maybe it's physical products, partnerships, maybe even your own version of Iron Lung. The key is to build each step on the foundation of the previous one. Finally, here is the most important part. You need to shift your mindset, right? Stop thinking like a content creator and start thinking like a business owner. Stop thinking about views and subscribers and start thinking about relationships and value. Stop asking permission and start taking ownership. Obviously, you still want to follow the rules and not overstep, and you don't take somebody's IP. Markiplier still had a license. There's a reason we didn't call it the Pokemon event. It's called Card Party. We are very aware of Pokemon and their intellectual property. We want to work with them. We want to collaborate with them. The traditional gatekeepers, however, studios, publishers, record labels, TV networks, they're not going away completely, obviously, but they're no longer the only path to success. That's the cool thing about this whole thing, right? And you have the tools. You have the platforms. You have the opportunity to build direct relationships with people who care about what you do. There's no other time in the world that we've been able to do this on this kind of scale. So what are you going to build? So here's my challenge. Stop waiting for someone to discover you. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for permission. Start building your empire today. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Maybe a YouTube channel about something you're passionate about. Maybe adding a newsletter for the people in your industry. Maybe it's a small product that solves a problem you understand. Whatever it is, start building relationships around it. Find your first 100 superfans and serve them incredibly well. Because here is what I know for sure. The creators who are building empires today, they're not the ones with the most talent or the biggest budgets. Those are the ones, of course, we see all the time because they're making the news. But there are a lot of people out there who are building empires who we don't even know about. And I want to feature some of them here on this podcast. They're the ones who understand that in a world of infinite content, genuine relationships are the scarcest resources. And when you have those relationships, when you have superfans, you can build anything. Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast. If this episode really spoke to you, and I hope it did, I hope you take action, and I hope you tell me about it. Find me on social media. Let me know what you think. Because the creator revolution isn't just about the Markipliers and Mr. Beasts of the world. It's about all of us who are brave enough to build something meaningful. Your empire is waiting. Go build it. Thank you so much.
So here's something I've noticed after years of creating video content. Most people don't get stuck because they don't have good ideas. They get stuck because of the setup, the tech, and honestly, just overthinking the entire process. And trust me, I get it. I've been there too. And that's exactly why I'm teaming up with the team at Ecamm for a live workshop where we're going to walk you through how to go live step by step. And here's what we're going to cover. What you actually need to get started, and just as importantly, what you don't. How to build a simple, repeatable workflow that you can actually stick to, and how to start showing up on video without all that friction that's been holding you back. Because here's the thing, this doesn't have to be complicated. The right setup makes all the difference between someone who keeps saying, I'll start next week, and someone who's actually showing up consistently and building an audience, which, as you know, if you've been here before, is the most important thing. And if you want to take it even further, we're also running a 7-day live video challenge so you can put everything into practice right away. No more waiting, no more overthinking, just doing. This is for you if you've been thinking about getting into live video, or if you've started but haven't been as consistent as you'd like to be. If you're ready to finally get your video workflow dialed in, head to ecamm.com/SPI to save your spot. That's ecamm, ecamm.com/SPI. Hey, before you go, I'm going to tell you about something that I've been building for a long time. You know, I talk a lot about superfans, right? The idea that you don't need millions of followers to build a thriving business. You just need the right people who show up, people who will buy and be customers, who will tell their friends, and who stick with you through everything. But knowing the concept and actually building it, well, those are two very different things. And this is exactly why I created the Superfans system. It is a complete step-by-step framework built right into the SPI community that meets you exactly where you are and gives you a clear path forward. No more guessing on what you need to do next. No more building in isolation. Just a proven system with the courses, the community, and the support to back you up at every single level. And if you're ready to stop chasing followers and start building real fans, people who actually care about what you create, come check it out. Go to superfans.smartpassiveincome.com and let's start building your superfans today.